From the Ford Mustang SVT Cobra to the underwhelming Dodge Daytona IROC RT, these cars had all the right names, but none of the right moves. The Chevrolet Lumina Z34, a car that tried to bring NASCAR performance to the streets but ended up in the slow lane, and the Pontiac Firebird formula, looking fierce but missing the muscle where it counts. These are just a couple of the names that promise power but fail to deliver. We'll show you in this video how these muscle cars became some of the worst cars of the 1990s. You won't believe how bad some of these really were. The 1994-1995 Ford Mustang Cobra is a curious case in the history of muscle cars. The biggest letdown was the engine. Unlike the tire-shredding V8s of the past, the 94-95 Cobra packed a 5-liter V8 that only mustered 240 horsepower. This paled in comparison to rivals like the Chevrolet Camaro Z28, which offered a more powerful 5.7-liter V8. While the Cobra did receive some performance upgrades like GT 40-cylinder heads and a revised intake system, the power gain was marginal. The handling wasn't much of a saving grace either. While Mustangs are known for their fun, tossable nature, the 1994-95 Cobra felt a bit sluggish. The suspension wasn't as tightly tuned as on previous Cobras, resulting in more body roll and a less connected feel on curvy roads. Additionally, 1995 introduced a much-needed improvement, the option for a hardtop convertible. However, these improvements couldn't mask the core issue. The 1994-95 Cobra felt like a shadow of its former self. 1993 to 1995 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 represents a turning point for the iconic muscle car, but not necessarily in a positive way. It marked the end of an era for the Z28's legendary V8 dominance. Previously, the Z28 roared with powerful V8 engines that cemented its reputation. However, the 93 to 95 model saw a swap to the 5.7-liter LT1 V8, a decent engine but a significant downgrade from the beast of the past. While offering 275 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque, it fell short of enthusiast expectations, especially considering rivals like the Ford Mustang Cobra, albeit with its own issues, still boasted a V8. Despite the engine disappointment, the Z28 did have some redeeming qualities. It offered a choice of a smooth 4-speed automatic or a desirable 6-speed manual transmission, giving drivers some control over the experience. Additionally, 1993 saw the Z28 selected as the Indianapolis 500 pace car, adding a touch of racing pedigree. The 93 to 95 Z28 became a symbol of a muscle car struggling to find its footing in a changing automotive landscape, ultimately landing it on the list of the 90s muscle cars that didn't quite live up to the legacy. The Pontiac Firebird Trans Am from 1993 to 2002. A mushy suspension. While the available WS6 package offered some handling upgrades like stiffer springs and a limited slip differential, the overall setup couldn't overcome this car's inherent weight and live rear axle. This resulted in excessive body roll during cornering, hindering its ability to deliver a truly engaging driving experience. On the bright side, the later models, like 98 to 02, saw the return of the legendary WS6 Ram Air option, which boosted horsepower and offered a more connected feel. However, the handling issues remained a persistent thorn in the side of this otherwise appealing muscle car. The Firebird Trans Am became a cautionary tale of prioritizing aesthetics over a well-rounded performance package. The 1993 to 97 Ford Thunderbird SC attempted to recapture the glory days of the muscle car Thunderbird, but ended up being a confusing identity crisis on wheels. The biggest hurdle was its size and weight. The Thunderbird SC was a bulky coupe, a far cry from the sleeker, lighter muscle cars of the past. This bulkiness translated into sluggish handling, despite a decent 250 horsepower V8 engine under the hood. The car felt more like a dressed-up cruiser than a tire-burning muscle machine. Adding to the confusion was the overall design. While the SC boasted some sporty elements like a hood scoop and a rear spoiler, it lacked the aggressive lines and muscular stance expected from a true muscle car. It ended up looking like a lukewarm attempt to blend sportiness with luxury, failing to excel in either category. There were some positives. The interior offered surprising comfort and decent technology for the time. The V8, while not earth-shattering, provided adequate power for everyday driving. However, these couldn't overcome the core issues: the size, handling, and uninspired design. Plymouth Prowler, 1997 to 2002. The Prowler's biggest weakness was its identity crisis. It sported a radical, retro-futuristic design with open wheels and a bulbous body, more akin to a hot rod caricature than a muscle car. This outlandish look, while undeniably eye-catching, alienated some muscle car purists who craved a more classic design. Under the hood, things weren't much better. Early models came with a cast iron block V6 that offered underwhelming power. Later models received a stronger aluminum block V6, but it still lacked the tire-shredding V8 punch muscle car enthusiasts expected. The Prowler did have some redeeming qualities. Its lightweight aluminum construction offered decent handling, and the open-wheel design provided a unique driving experience. However, the lack of a proper V8 engine and the unconventional design overshadowed these positives. The 1995 to 2007 Chevrolet Carlo SS. While it did retain the SS badge, a symbol of performance in Chevy's past, this Monte Carlo strayed from its sporty roots. The biggest issue was the overall design direction. The Monte Carlo SS shed its previous sleek, sporty lines for a more generic, bland look. It resembled a four-door sedan with a tacked-on spoiler, failing to evoke the aggressive presence expected from a muscle car. This alienated fans who remembered the earlier, more performance-oriented Monte Carlos. There were some improvements. Later models offered a more powerful LS4 V8, and the overall build quality was decent. The Monte Carlo SS simply didn't feel like a true muscle car. It became a symbol of a nameplate losing its way, ultimately landing it on a list of 90s muscle cars that strayed too far from their performance heritage. 1995 to 1997 Dodge Avenger RT. The biggest issue was its lack of true muscle car pedigree. It borrowed a V6 engine and a platform from other Chrysler vehicles, making it feel more like a budget muscle car than a genuine performance machine. This feeling was amplified by the unremarkable design. While it had some sporty elements like a hood scoop and a spoiler, it lacked the aggressive lines and muscular stance expected from a muscle car. In the end, the Dodge Avenger RT, while not a terrible car, failed to capture the essence of a muscle car, landing it on the list of forgettable contenders in the 90s muscle car scene. 1991 to 96 Chevrolet Lumina Z34 attempted to recapture some muscle car magic on a budget, but ended up feeling more like a dressed-up family sedan. Its biggest downfall was prioritizing affordability over performance. The Z34 sacrificed a luxurious interior for a lower price tag, and this made it feel cheap compared to true muscle cars, leaving drivers wanting a more thrilling experience. While it offered a 3.1-liter V6 with decent power, it lacked the raw muscle and visceral feel expected from a muscle car. The handling also leaned towards comfortable cruising rather than sharp, exciting cornering. So, while the Lumina Z34 wasn't a bad car, it failed to deliver on the muscle car promise, landing it on the list of 90s also-rans. The 1996 to 1999 Ford Taurus SHO was a curious case of conflicting identities. While its heart thumped with the potent pulse of a Yamaha-developed 3.4-liter V8 engine capable of producing a respectable 235 horsepower, its exterior design remained firmly rooted in the realm of family-friendly wagons. This strange mismatch between powertrain and body style resulted in a car that appealed to neither muscle car enthusiasts seeking a sleek, aggressive design, nor families needing a truly practical wagon. The 1990 to 98 Eagle Talon TSi was an interesting concept on paper. It was a powerful, all-wheel drive Mitsubishi with a turbocharged engine. However, its Mitsubishi origins alienated traditional muscle car enthusiasts, craving a domestic brand. This niche appeal landed it on the also-rans list of 90s muscle cars. The 1996 to 1999 Chevrolet Impala SS stands as a beacon of hope amidst the forgettable muscle cars of the 90s. Unlike its contemporaries, it embraced its muscle car heritage. A sleeper hit, it packed a surprising punch under the hood. A 5.7-liter LT1 V8 churning out 260 horsepower. This, coupled with a more aggressive suspension, borrowed from police package Impalas, offered unexpected performance for the time. The Impala SS defied expectations, proving that a muscle car spirit could thrive even in a larger sedan body style. And 1992 to present, Dodge Viper. Yep, it stands as a shining exception in the 90s muscle car scene. This beast, with its monstrous V10 engine and brutal performance, wasn't just a muscle car, it was a supercar slayer in a Viper skin. It carved its own niche, proving that American muscle could compete on the global stage. So this was a collection of some of the worst muscle cars of the 1990s. We hope you liked our video. If so, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel.